Hey, welcome to AI 23 Podcast. Now, we have an exciting episode today. You might have heard Pika Labs. It's a new company and they're focused on editing video. And it's really revolutionizing everything when it comes to AI content. And we're also going to be discussing about this model that is an AI model coming out of Spain, making 10,000 euros a month for the company that built her. And what does that mean to us and the future of content? All right, let's get started. Pika Labs, what do you guys think of this new company?
Dude, it looks amazing. It's like something from your dreams. It's like you type in what you're imagining and it creates it. And it's video.
Yeah,
This is next level.
yeah. Looks like they're coming for runway. So it's video content. It's short. It's not long, and the amount of tools that it has where you can edit video is amazing.
Yeah, and like, okay, so on the preview it shows like a woman walking in like this crop top shirt, and it says if you want to just change the shirt she's wearing, you like highlight and type in to change it. And
Yeah.
so these things that would be I mean, I have no idea how a person would change the shirt you're wearing or add sunglasses to a monkey or whatever. It's like the amount of power that it has to change something, and it really takes like minutes or seconds or typing in some words. I feel like an old grandma who's like, "What's this iPhone you're talking about?" You know, like I'm just like, this is such cool
I haven't
technology.
I haven't tested it yet. Have you guys played around with it at all? Because
No, I'm on the waiting list. It's still you're unless you're on the beta testing,
Okay.
you're not on it. So I'm still on the waiting list. But all we've gotten is the videos that they've showed, like the one she was
Yeah.
talking about. Runway also does similar, but not at that level
Right.
yet.
Right.
And it seems like that's going to be a lot of competition in that space. And to answer your question, you could do that, but that takes a ton of VFX to
Yeah.
do these
Yeah,
things.
okay.
So in Hollywood, they do a lot of this, and we do it for clients. It takes a lot of manpower and the right technology, the right computer with the right software. Now, anyone on a laptop can
Yeah.
literally
Right?
do this. It
I'm
is
I
I'm
mean, okay,
curious.
changing the
give us
game for any
give us
content
an
creator.
idea. Like if I were to say, "Hey, you know what, Rico, in this shot, I want to change the shirt I'm wearing." Is that like a $5,000, 50-hour, 3 manpower project, or like I don't know, what would it take to
So
change
if
a
it was a
shirt?
shirt, so the way they did that one, it was a completely different shirt. If you can change color pretty easily with changing the hues, but changing the shirt completely, you almost at this point would have to go frame by frame. And as she moves, you have to build that wrinkle. Yeah, because
Wow.
there is some artificial intelligence, I think, in some of these Maya and other VFX software, but not at that level.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's still a person that has to constantly go frame by frame and fix and tweak if you're
That's
completely changing a shirt.
That's why I'm curious, because I know a little bit about this as well. And I'm curious if the sizzle is exactly what they're selling, because what they're selling looks incredible. Is it that easy? Is it that fast? We
Is
don't
it
know
that
yet, right?
accurate?
We'll
Is it
see.
that
You're right.
precise?
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even if
Either
we
way, think about it. Okay, that's maybe it's not like that today, but give it 1 year.
Oh,
Right.
Give it
or
3 years.
or
Right.
6 months or 3 months or whatever stuff's flying at us
Yeah.
so fast. I
Well,
think
like if you
Adobe's coming out with something also kind of like that.
the tool
And
that
I
I've
just heard
Firefly.
used,
something about it.
Yes.
Well,
the tool that
Firefly's
I've
been
used
there.
to do the
There's
same
actually
thing.
something else.
No,
Oh,
no,
go
it's a
ahead.
Firefly for video. It's called Firefly for video. I'm also on
Oh,
that
that's
For
one.
like the
video.
That one.
Adobe version of this, right?
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Adobe
Yeah.
version. Yeah.
So I've used the Canva version of this because I am that level of sophisticated with these types of things. And when you do like the Magic Expand, which basically takes an image and then it adds to it in whatever direction you want it to, you can tell that it's AI generated, or you can tell like where the lines are supposed to blend but don't. And so I think what you're saying, Hector, with like, is this trailer legit what it can do? I bet it's the sexy, like, nice version that's maybe cleaned up. And when you get in there, I imagine it wouldn't exactly look as
There's
perfect as the trailer makes it look.
and there's a learning curve to it. There's a learning
Yeah.
curve to all these tools. So
Yeah.
It's like, how much time are we going to invest in learning which tool? Because we're using Runway right now, Runway ML, and now
Yeah.
this thing comes out and it's challenging it. So do we? It's that battle of brands, right? Like,
Well,
you
yes, it
know,
is. And what I find really interesting is one of the exercises that I'll do with clients when I'm helping them with ChatGPT and say copywriting is we'll go through and we'll say, like, okay, based off of everything we created today, what would it have cost me to hire a copywriter to do this for me? And we'll get anywhere from like, I've gotten $600 to like 10,000 plus dollars to recreate what I just did in ChatGPT in a matter of hours, right? And so, even like this question I have to Rika, what would it cost? Like, what does it take to change a shirt? Just pretend, I don't know, call that a $10,000 adjustment. If we're now getting these capabilities that take a $10,000 job and turn it into minutes or hours, and it costs $20 a month to have that tool to do it for us, could you imagine? Like, I don't think we could even imagine what it would be like to have something that typically costs $1 million, and maybe in 1, 2, 3 years, that $1 million project is now accessible to us in a matter of minutes or hours through artificial intelligence.
hmm,
Well, I mean, we kind of have lived through this. If you think about computers, supercomputers back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, there was no personal computer. It was these $1 million computers in these offices. I have a MacBook in front of me that's more powerful than any of those computers.
Right.
yeah,
Like our
And
your
it
phones.
cost me
iPhone,
like 2 grand. And we
yeah,
have
Right?
a
Our
phone.
phone is more
So,
our ph- our phone is more powerful than the computers that took the astronauts to the moon. Like, how
so
does that even
yeah,
work?
AI is just another amazing tool that's going to help people, but it's going to help those that know how to use it.
Yeah.
I
You
think
got to learn how to use machines.
I think what's happening is during any of these revolutions, like when the Mac came out, all the people that were traditional artists and typesetters and stuff, it was like a really fine process to put spacing in between letters and spacing in between words, and it was all done manually. When the Mac came out, that stuff was kind of like they looked at it and like, man, I've been perfecting my craft for so many years, and this is garbage because it was like 80% good. You had to do stuff on the Mac to make it as good as what it used to be. So I think this software is exactly the same thing. It's
Hmm.
gonna it's gonna be 80% for the general population, but
Yeah.
we have that cyclical relationship with AI to where we're getting it to be perfect so that we can be above and beyond 80% of the population is just chasing these softwares. And yeah, we'll just have to continually work with it, have that relationship to where because we have the experience, you're an amazing film director, you're an amazing brand persona, gal. I'm a pretty cool packaging and branding guy on the visual
You
side.
are.
If we just continue to work it with the knowledge that we have, we're going to heighten the results for our clients.
Yeah.
And I think you have a great perspective because you were a pioneer in the day of the Mac going into the world of creativity. What year was that? Like what year
It was
did you work at the
90.
agency?
It was 90.
So
90,
1990, think about 1990.
33 years ago.
Apple started in the late 70s. So you're looking at 1990. Now you're getting the Apple computers into different places and you're becoming a creative. So you got to see that transformation happen through computers.
Yes.
Now you're seeing it again with probably the biggest that we've ever seen, artificial
sure.
intelligence.
Yeah. It's
So I
nuts.
think that perspective is great. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people, a lot of naysayers still. There's a lot of people who are like, oh no, they're very fear-based when it comes to AI. And I think, what I love about us, and I always say it, we're going for it. We have a legit company that we've refined our processes and we have businesses and we make money, but we're just using this as another tool, the best tool we've ever had. Too many tools, actually, but we're figuring out these tools. We're limiting them to maybe 5 or 6 or 7 because there's like 50 coming at us every week.
So many.
So we're just making these tools work for us really, really well so that we can propel our businesses and strengthen our foundation. And
Do you know what
and
we're
share
doing?
share it with everyone.
We are acing it. No, but
Doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
This also reminds me of, so there was I bring this up a lot because of my industry in entertainment and media. I was watching CNBC. This is probably like 6, 7 years ago. And what was the guy that used to run Disney? Not Bob Iger, but back in the
oh, I should
80s.
know this.
Um, yeah, you should know
I
this.
should know this.
The
The reason I should know this is
hold
because
on.
my husband works for Disney.
CEO of Disney. He revolutionized Disney. Michael Eisner. So Michael Eisner was on CNBC and he was predicting the future of media. And this is before the streaming wars. He literally said, what you're going to see are the streaming wars. And these companies will pop up and they will have so much cash because people will invest so much money into this streaming because it's the new technology and it's how people will consume content, that you will see cable dying, you will see regular TV
Oh, yeah.
dying, you will
When
see
did he say
all
this?
these companies. It was like 6 or 7 years on CNBC. And it's crazy because I've seen it happen. He
Yeah.
predicted the rise, boom of streaming, where they're going to spend so much money that the person that's going to make the money will be the producers. So he ran Disney. He was a studio. He left being a studio executive to create his own production company to sell content to the streaming companies because he said that's how you're going to make your money, because
Wow.
they're going to spend so much money. And what happened? They're spending billions of dollars on content. They're fighting each other to see who's
Wow.
going to be the champ, and
Yeah.
they're making zero profit.
Yeah.
So right now we're going
Wow.
through that, and it just makes me think this is the same thing we're about to see, the AI wars. Companies that are
My
going to be
God.
so funded by VCs and private equity, and they're going to fight. Only a few are going to survive this war.
Yeah. It's like social media,
So,
right? TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn.
but there were so many before that. MySpace,
Yeah. Oh,
Friendster.
yeah.
Yeah,
But there
okay.
still is.
And
Yeah,
this
we have a
kind
lot
of
of
goes
choices.
into this goes into what we were talking about before the episode of, I've said, man, it's crazy that Pika Labs just came out of the blue and is now this fierce competitor with Runway and other tools. And you guys are like, no, they're not coming out of the blue. They've been at this for forever. And I'm just fascinated by this whole idea of competition and how quickly can people enter the competition and dominate, what barriers have been dropped or reduced because of AI. I think it's a relevant conversation for business owners and entrepreneurs to be thinking about, because the competition is getting fierce in different ways than we've ever experienced before.
Yeah, it's all at our hands, and it's depends how much money you have. Investors, how much money are they willing to put into? How long can you last in this race? Because everybody's racing right now, and so are you well funded? Are you not well funded? How well are you marketing? And a lot of that is going to separate who wins and who loses. And it's.
You think money is the number one factor that people have to leverage to be competitive?
If somebody's got, $500 million versus any one of us three, who do you think's going to win?
Oh, what, you don't
who's
have
going to
$500 million?
who's going to outsmart who?
Speak for
right?
yourself, brother.
But that's the kind of dollars that people are raising
Yeah.
right now.
Jeez.
Yeah, they are. And it's also partnerships. I see big time, like partnerships are going to be very important. Who's partnering with who? If you think about, for a lot of you youngins, you probably don't know this, but the VHS versus the betas, and VHS is actually inferior product to the beta tapes.
Yeah.
Beta tapes.
But they won.
About beta tapes. Is this like an 8-track?
Yeah. No. So these were, I only know because I study the entertainment business
Yeah.
and study content.
You're like, I'm not
so
old.
Back in the day, yeah. I'm still young. VHS tapes, I grew up with those, but I had no idea
Me too.
there was a competitor, which was Betamax, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And it was a same type of cassette, but it was superior. It was better. But somehow VHS had the right partnerships and was able to surpass them. During this time, there were also Laserdisc, which would later become DVDs,
Yeah.
but they also died. So
Yeah.
they're all competing, and it was a better technology. There's a lot. There's strategy, there's money, and there's partnerships.
Wow.
And we don't know who's going to win. At this point, for us, we might as well just kind of see which ones we like, which one seems like it's going the right way, and stick with that one. ChatGPT destroyed a whole bunch of companies just a few weeks ago
Oh
when
yeah,
they
yeah.
released their own. Hey, make your own GPT
Yes.
with ChatGPT and protect your information inside of it. I was like,
Yeah.
well, there goes all those new companies that had
Yes.
started.
That
They're gone.
were well funded, probably.
Yeah, and they
Now
were
they're gone.
all running on the ChatGPT, the OpenAI API system. So
So
it's a very interesting time.
how do we like juxtapose what you just said with what Hector said earlier? So for example, the Betamax was a better quality product than the VHS, yet VHS still won out. And the three of us talk a lot about how, we're experts at our craft. We want to be the best of the best. Yet these AI tools are allowing us generally, let's just call it to be 80% good enough. So do we not necessarily need to be the best like Betamax was, and we actually need to focus on something else or like prioritize something else?
I think we, just like Apple. Apple said, think different. They weren't the best monitor. There were other people with better monitors, and they created a culture, and they created something that nobody else has in their packaging and in their voice and in their messaging. And it was very simple. It was very clean. They had an inferior product, but how they packaged it really made a huge difference, and how they marketed it.
Ooh, I got an answer that goes with what you just said. It's in the book Start with Why. Apple
Okay.
had the right why, and
Huh.
they built culture instead of product. They
Yeah.
built community instead of just a computer. And it's branding. And I think the human psychology will always want us to be a part of something bigger than us. Nike is bigger than us. Nike isn't about a shoe. Nike is about a feeling of sports, of being an athlete. Apple being a creative, being in the know, being an innovator. Um, and also in that book is the story of the Wright brothers, which to me just really fascinates me because they had zero funding,
Yes.
and then you had the guy. What was the other guy who was
He had a very
fully
interesting
funded?
name. Yeah, he was the smartest guy, went to the best school, fully funded.
Best school,
Yeah.
fully
And he-
funded, had the government behind him.
Yeah, he couldn't do
and
it.
He couldn't do it. They
Yeah.
did it with no money, their little bike shop.
Almost killed
And
themselves.
yeah, but you know
Oh my
what? They
gosh.
had a passion, they had their why, and their why motivated others. I
Huh.
think that's part of company too. I think these AI companies, some of them are going to be very cold and just not build a brand. Some of them are going to build a brand and
Hmm.
we're going to love them regardless
Yeah.
if they're the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
That this is a really good discussion, and it reminds me. I saw our friend Manoj posted this post here. It says, "AI is going to devalue your intelligence. Start investing in core human values of creativity, empathy, and resilience."
Mhm.
It seems as though what we're talking about is in this world of core human values. Start with why. I mean, that's what makes us human. That's what connects us and amplifies the relationships we have. Because when you're tied into something that you're aligned with, that you care about, that you feel something about, you go do something, you get involved, you buy it, right?
If you have a purpose, then people will follow you. If you have a purpose so strong that's
Yeah.
undeniable that you'd rather do that for free than anything else,
Mm.
and you just love it, and you're down to just like, hey, whatever obstacle I got to get through, that's what I'm going to get through. I've got this purpose.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Bring it, Rico. What do you got? I see.
No, you
I
guys
hear
are
the-
inspiring me, man.
I hear
because,
the gears turning,
yeah,
baby.
yeah. Well, my friend just became an American citizen, my buddy Zorro. But first, shout out to Simon Sinek, who wrote
Yeah,
the book
of
Start with
course.
Why. So if you
Of
haven't
Oh,
read
you
it,
want to be
read
on our
that book.
podcast? We'll have you.
Yep. But back to this. So my friend just became a U.S. citizen. He's from India, and I went to the ceremony, and it was really beautiful. And they're speaking, and they're telling these the idea of America. You're not joining our country. You're not joining our government. You are joining us with this idea of democracy. And it was this thing of idea that really hit me hard. I'm like, it's true. People traverse the most horrendous obstacles to come to this country.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Because of the idea of the
Mm,
American dream. America, it has been this beacon of hope, of light, of prosperity, of
mm,
opportunity for
Freedom.
the world.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Think about that. Man,
Mm,
I was just in New York, Ellis Island, the Statue of Liberty. You think of all, we take it for granted because we live here,
We're,
but
yeah.
we're spoiled. This
Spoiled
country
rotten
is
for sure.
yeah, but this country is established on an idea, and people sacrifice their lives. I am a big
mm,
fan of our founding fathers. I
yeah.
love the story of these people who got together and said, you know what, we're going to sign this thing, and this is our death wish. Right now, we sign this, we know we're going to get murdered if we don't win.
Yeah.
And
Jeez,
they went
yeah.
with all obstacles, they won. So to me, that start with why. What is that thing? Regardless of if we're talking about AI or any business,
Oh yeah.
what is that why?
Hmm.
Yeah.
What is that thing that's going to drive not only you, your employees, the people behind you, but also others to want to join? Because
Yeah.
this country is made up of immigrants.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not just Americans doing things. We got people from all over the world coming here to build stuff.
Absolutely.
If you look at the names of Pika, the founders, they have Asian last names. So
Hmm.
I don't know if they came from Asia or their parents, but their lineage comes from Asia to get educated here at Stanford.
Oh,
Mm,
That shows
absolutely.
you the power of America.
Yeah.
yeah.
So shout out to America. I just wanted to talk about America. But it's that everything we just said. Think about that.
Mm,
Start with why. What is it that really moves people? And I think people coming here is sometimes I'm like, wow, they go through the craziest things to make it to
It's
this country.
and we don't give up. We just keep going, baby. If there's an
mm.
obstacle,
Yeah.
we go through it, around it, above it, below it. It's like if we want something bad enough, we can achieve.
So I love everything that we're talking about, and I agree and I'm curious about, does this still apply once we get into these like really, really big, almost monopoly like businesses? So, for example, I have no clue what Facebook's purpose or why is. I don't, I have no idea. But yet, they're a behemoth, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know how successful they are, but obviously, they are extremely successful at being a social media platform. So, does this same essence, do you guys think this same essence of start with why and purpose and connection, does that also play out in these like open AI, Meta? I mean, these are like big, they're kind of almost political, like it's like bananas. I
All
can see
these
how this applies to like everyday people who are, feeding their families, feeding their team, but like,
you
does
got
it
to be
translate?
you got to be a little cray cray to do the things that people do to build Facebook and Starbucks and Disney and all those companies. You are like crazy because you don't listen to anybody and you have this idea in your head and you have a purpose and you don't care what the obstacles are. You don't care what your in-laws tell you. You don't care that somebody says you got to go back to school. You don't care that coffee's $1.10 and you have this vision of $4 cup of coffee on every corner on the planet. You don't care. You don't care that you get turned down by 350 banks before somebody says yes. You don't care. Disney was a wild dude before Disneyland. So, I mean, all these guys are, people look at them and probably go, dude, you are crazy for doing what you're doing. And so I mean, depends how committed you are to your purpose. And not everybody's going to win.
Yeah.
Life isn't fair. So these are just some of the winners.
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and they did have a purpose. So if you look at Facebook, he did have a purpose, and everyone that worked at Facebook had a purpose. They were changing the way we communicate. They were changing the way we can connect with each other globally. Um, do people lose their purpose? Yes. That happens. That's happening in America. That's happening in
Yeah.
corporations. If you look at Amazon, I like watching these things of Jeff Bezos back in 1997, and he was this dorky, nerdy guy who just saw the world was about to change.
Yeah.
Everything was going to go into this e-commerce thing that really we had no clue what was happening, but he saw the vision. He understood, started with books, and has just grown and grown and grown it. And I don't know what the why is now, Oh no, I do know the why actually. It's all about customer service. It's about us
Yeah,
first. He's
that's
all
right.
about the
Yeah.
customer. So they win because they do have a why. Because at the end of the day, your employees are not going to work as hard if they don't also have that passion. And if
Yeah.
you look at some of the nerds that were working at Facebook, they did the hackathons. They would do these 72 hours
Yes.
coding sessions, no
Crazy
sleep.
stuff.
That's
Crazy,
nuts.
crazy stuff.
You gotta
Yes.
be passionate.
It's even,
Gotta be.
you know, I
Yeah,
do
but
work with celebrity Warren G, right? He's who came up with Snoop Dogg, and he's Dre's half brother. Those, when I got to know him, because I'm working with him, they worked so freaking hard. Nobody knows that. They were in studio. They were doing this crazy, massive, recording and rapping. And yeah, of course, they were smoking weed and doing other stuff. But they had this purpose of, something greater than themselves. And it's like,
Mhm.
and the other thing is people pivot. A lot of these founders have pivoted. They, Disney pivoted. A lot of people, there's the backstory of they failed and they failed and they failed and they pivoted and then they had some success and they failed again and they just kept going and going and going. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of failure. That's how you learn. So
So, how do we reconcile with the reality, though, that not everyone's why is maybe positive or healthy or beneficial for society or in the best interest of the public? Like, do we just.
those are the chances we have on planet Earth. We don't know what other people's motives are, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
politics, and we just have to go for what we know. And you know what? For me, I feel just tremendously blessed to come from where I came from, to have achieved what I've achieved, been able to meet some amazing people. You two are in that group of amazing people that I adore, and it's just like, you know what? Life is short. Do what you got to do to make a footprint on
Mm.
life and positively affect as many people as possible.
Mm,
So
I like
And
that.
I think, I think we should just focus on ourselves. I mean, trying to focus on what other people are doing really doesn't help you. So
Yeah.
it's what can you do that's going to help society? And another thing that I'm going to bring in from my days as an actor was you have to realize everyone is a hero in their own story. What I'm trying to say with that is everyone is living a story. We're all characters in this amazing novel, this amazing movie of life.
Yeah.
And each one of us is actually a hero. We might see someone as a villain, but in their mind, they're a hero. They're fighting for something.
Yeah.
right.
And they have their why, and their why, it's strong for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they might influence people with that why because they have the same feeling. And that's part of humanity.
Yeah.
We're tribal. We will always be tribal. We will always have differences of opinion. I think the best way to live is respect other people's opinions, and not really try to fight all the time. Maybe try to understand each other a little bit more
Yeah.
because their why comes from something. It could be from their upbringing. It could be that they were tormented. They don't understand this other world or this other way of looking at things. So
They
That's
don't even
good.
know
I
their
think we got to
why.
be more patient.
Yeah, a lot of these people, they don't
Yeah.
know their why.
Yeah.
But they're driven.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
this
They're
is
driven.
this is where I'm going, whether it's good or bad or left or right or up or down,
Yeah.
backwards or forward. That's their why. That's what they believe in. And they might have more conviction
how
than
we-
we do.
I love how we got so off topic. We're
Dude,
talking
I
about Pika
know.
Labs,
I'm
and we
like-
got to just start with why.
Well,
This
business.
is like
Yeah.
a wisdom fest here. I like it.
Well, you had a really, quality question, Natalie, that opened up the door for all this other dialogue.
Thanks.
So-
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we
But
just go with
this
the
is what's going to
one
happen. We are going to see all these new companies because we're seeing it already popping up.
Yeah.
They all do AI. They all have some AI component. They're going to revolutionize the way we work, we live, or we play.
Yeah.
And our goal for our podcast and just our company is to really start understanding which are the ones that we think will be the most helpful
Yep.
for society.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also to talk very candidly about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes
I know.
to
This is
this
it's a
technology.
very interesting theme that keeps popping up: the good, bad, and
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah.
But I do think what we've been talking about is so it's really good, and I love your answers. I love this, and for all of us building businesses and thinking about our competition and our customers, I like what you're saying. Like it's almost like in some ways you put on the blinders and you focus on who's my tribe, who am I serving, and how do I do that the best, and I, drive with that passion and that meaning and purpose, and look for opportunities to integrate AI, because everyone says, oh, integrate AI or else, and it's like, well, actually, it's real. People are able to save thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars by leveraging AI. So I think there's just some cool ways, and maybe this is a good segue into our next topic of this Spanish model who's been created to help this company make more money. Right? I think you found
That's
that
crazy.
right?
Her name is AI Tana. And I mean, the pictures, it looks so real. That whatever they've used at Midjourney and whatever Photoshop that they're doing, these pictures are amazing. It looks like a real person. She also has her OnlyFans, so they've built an OnlyFans for her. She does.
Are you serious?
Wow.
Yeah, they're making money there. They're also making money with her through brand connections. So they're using her likeness for some brands and some commercials.
So is this strictly
ads.
imagery, like photos, photorealistic,
Yeah,
lifestyle images?
Talking to you on the phone
That's
for
it.
$3 a minute or whatever.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't think she's doing that, but
how-
hey, she could. You're right.
How is this entity, this company that created this, how are they monetizing this? Who's on the other end is paying this money?
That's a good
10,000.
So her OnlyFans fans are paying whatever they are a month because they want to see this AI model in her lingerie. Then she has deals with sports supplement company. She is the face for one company. She has lingerie for FanView. FanView, that's the one it's called. So it's similar to OnlyFans. So I think that's where she's making most of her money. She has 121,000 followers on Instagram.
Real followers following a fake person. That's
Who knows if
interesting.
they're real?
Well, I mean, if they're paying real
I'm
money,
on her thing
then they
right
got to
now.
be real.
Did you say 191? Is that what you said?
121. That's what I see here.
It's 191. Is it fit _
Okay.
Itiana?
Yeah, Itiana. So this was written. Wait.
I'm on her Instagram page right now. It's
Okay, so this
191.
article that I'm looking at is from a few months ago.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
done.
she's gone up.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh. Okay, well,
That's
you girls got words
insane.
about this. Where you guys want to start?
So is she the first one? Is she the pioneer?
I don't know if she's a pioneer, but she is making money for this company. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because of the whole thing with the actors strike that has happened. And right now there are negotiations, and the actors union, because I still am an actor and my wife is an actress, a working actress. It's really, really important to us and important to our community that the actors are protected through AI. So the only reason most actors are saying no to this new contract is only because of the artificial intelligence clause,
Yeah.
allowing the studios to use your likeness, your voice, pay you once, and have
No.
unlimited access to
No.
re-edits, to do these things for you. So it's a very scary thing. The people that are saying, no, don't worry about it, technology won't move that fast, in 3 years you can redo this.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
No.
history repeats itself. They already did a bad contract for streaming. They thought streaming was going to be a joke. It was just going to be YouTube. Well, a few years later, streaming owned all of content.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
to give
insane.
you, I'm going to give you a perspective of this. An actor that works on a streaming show, let's say not a big name, not a big celebrity, but just an actor doing their rates from broadcast TV, what you would see on ABC compared to Netflix, is crazy. If they did a guest star on an ABC show, their pay is about $20,000. They do the guest star on the Netflix show, they get $1,000 a day. And what Netflix does, they try to shoot all your scenes in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
And
the minimum.
that's
That's a
insane. So
huge,
and you're
huge
talking
amount of-
about people that maybe came to Hollywood to become an actor. They're starving. They're sleeping in their car because they want to be famous. They've got a why. They want to be famous. They want to be in Hollywood. They want to be on the big screen, and they have to live, have insurance, have gas for their vehicle or have a vehicle, pay for their food and lodging and a hotel or maybe not a hotel, maybe an apartment, maybe they're sharing a hotel. So this is their how much money they make,
Livelihood.
their livelihood. Yeah. So that seems like that's a you got to have a big why to be able to hustle to come here, do that, succeed, and then the studios are saying, well, we're going to own your likeness. Is
Tom
that
Hanks isn't going to sign that contract. Why should anybody else? Right? Like
So,
these
and
big
that's
actors.
what the contract. So the thing, the way it's written, it's you have the right of refusal. But if you're Tom Hanks, you can say refuse, and the studio will say, "Okay, cool. What do you want? We'll work.
they're negotiating?
Have your lawyer send, yeah, because it's Tom Hanks.
Right.
It's The Rock. But I'm a nobody. My wife is a working actress. She's getting really good credits, but she's not a Tom Hanks level.
Sure.
So she says, "No, I don't want my likeness like that. We have to renegotiate. What's going to happen? Cool. We're not going to work with you anymore.
Yeah.
Next."
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, because
whoa.
So
everybody-
now
Everybody's-
she can't get it.
They're lining out the door
Yeah.
for work, right? They're always
Exactly.
casting. They're
Yes.
always trying to refine the thing, and they're always connecting, and just in the hopes that they land a good gig.
So for the stars, none of this matters. When you're a star, you're at a
Yeah.
whole different level.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
don't play by the same rules.
But they're not. So
when
they're
you
not
are,
inside of this union like container thing.
they're in the union, but it doesn't matter because when you're a star, you don't play by the rules. When you are at a high level, your rules and your life is very different from everyone else. So actors are working people, but stars, they
Whole
fly
nother level.
private. They
Yeah.
get free gifts. Do you think they buy their iPhones? No, they get them
No.
for free.
Yeah.
But a working actor, they got to go buy their phone. They
Yeah.
got to go there in person. They got to buy their own plane tickets.
Wow.
It's a whole different
Yeah.
ballgame.
Wow.
And I've worked with celebrities, and the way bigger stars, the way we have to cater, because I also do production, is a whole different level. If I'm just working with an actor, they can sit right there with a crew. If it's a star, we have to get a wagon. We have to have their
Right,
food.
like a red
We have
wagon?
riders.
Like a
That's
trailer?
right.
We had, it's like no, like a trailer. So they have their own star trailer. They bring their own makeup artist. We have to pay for all these things.
Who-
They can't use the regular makeup artist. They got to have their own.
They charge a
It's a
fortune.
whole different ballgame, guys.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well,
So this is what I'm talking about for the common worker, the artist that isn't a star. I mean, we're seeing AI right now, and there is a model that's taking jobs from other models
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
that's
On
not-
those platforms. That's insane. And
But think about it. Okay, I'm gonna be so corporate right now. I'm gonna
Oh,
step
sure.
away from my
Let's do
artist
it.
hat, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
put my business hat.
oh yeah.
I would 100% do this.
Yeah.
So now I'm why?
Yeah.
1000%.
You'd have a model
Because
in
now
every
you're
flavor
telling me,
for everybody's
yes, I could be like, Hector,
whatever.
build me this model, this
Yeah,
model, this
yeah,
model.
yeah.
I'm going to sell that to Nike. So
Yeah.
they'll give me this shoe.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Let's Photoshop that shoe on our model. Now we're going to do all these different campaigns with the
Yes.
model.
Yes.
I'm not paying her. I'm not feeding her. I'm not doing
Oh my
anything with her.
gosh.
And I have it 24/7.
And your
So-
crew. You don't need your crew. You don't need all the equipment. You don't need.
Nope.
You don't get complaints. You don't have emotions. You don't deal
You
with any of that
almost
stuff.
yeah.
No Star Wagon. No rider.
Star Wagon. No makeup artist.
And the average
No
person,
lunch.
the average person can create this at 80% level. But if you have that
Mm-hmm.
relationship, then you can create the level that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's building that relationship. And if it was, if you had your corporate hat on, you'd be like, yeah, bring it. Let me have 27 of these models, and we're going to apply them across everywhere. And at this moment in time, dude, we're like just under a year in diving into this in our entire careers. And it's like incredibly good. Like, you may not need Photoshop here pretty soon, because some of the tools are freaking incredible. And it's like every week a new tool's coming out that does something different and better and faster. So we can put an athlete in a Nike shoe in any environment with sweat on their forehead because they've been running or not, or any type of apparel. And like you're saying with Pika, they can change the outfit. I'm like, dude,
So-
this is a revolution like no other.
The way that my brain is thinking about this is, so if we take off the corporate hat and now put on the parent hat, I
Yeah.
think about my daughter. And I'm like, okay, so is my daughter going to grow up seeing these fake models who look perfect and feel a gap in herself, her body, what she looks like versus this image of perfection? Like, does this continue to distort our human perspective of what it means to look the right way?
It is possible. It's very interesting. We all have
Mhm.
daughters, and I know my daughters. I mean, I'm sure they're all self-conscious of their bodies all the time. And it sucks. It sucks that so many people will do, whatever they do because they want to fit in.
Sure.
And now that we have this artificial, you know, uh, the ideal look and feel, or
Sure.
whoever's paying for these models, it's pretty freaking bizarre that
Yeah.
the standard is perfection in looks.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? How damaging is that going to be to little girls and their psyche, in their self-esteem? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Like, it's
I
already
think there's going to
bad.
be. I think what you're saying is so true, and I think there's going to have to be something like how Instagram has a blue check mark when you're
Yeah.
verified.
Mhm.
There has to be where we will have to know what is real and what is not. I'm going to go to Blade Runner. We got to know what's a replicant.
Yeah.
What is not a real person. Because I don't want my daughter following that stuff. I don't want her believing this is a real person.
What if it's on the
Okay,
oatmeal
and
that you guys buy? What if it's on the products you buy at the grocery store?
but what about the boys, men, whatever, who are on OnlyFans looking at this stuff? Now, do you want your daughter in a relationship with someone who has that
Wow.
I
idea?
know, right? Yeah,
And we're seeing that
Disgusting
problem
to
now
me.
today if you see the problem with young men right now, the whole porn thing, because it's so accessible, has really started to ruin this generation. And it's a big addiction. It's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
honestly, it's kind of scary. And we have not put any safety rails because this is all new. We're in new territories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Before, if you wanted porn, you would have to go into one of those seedy shops, rent a VHS tape, then drive it home, then go return it. Today, you got it on
On your phone.
Yeah.
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 That's
and
insane.
honestly, you don't even have to look for it. It's coming after you.
Yeah.
Think about the ads, Instagram, this OnlyFans thing.
Yeah.
They're
I
being
mean-
bombarded.
Half of what's on her Instagram profile right now would probably be considered pornography in like the 50s,
Oh, for sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like half of this
I'm
stuff
sure.
is basically pornographic material, is what it is.
And
You're seeing her feet.
Dude, you're seeing her boobs like till here. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's sad that that's
they're not
the mark.
real.
I know they're not real.
yeah,
It's-
but they make you
it's-
have real feelings, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
so
That's
That's
a
the
big
draw.
That's
They're
going to be a
just-
big conversation for us.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think
they're-
there's the same way that there was implications that we're still, working through, the ramifications of social media and this painted picture perfect life. I think
Right.
we're going to deal with those same types of challenges in a more amplified way with these artificial perfection looking
yeah.
models.
And I think we all deal with that. We all compare ourselves, even though we don't want to. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
speaking for myself. I might see somebody else and go, man, they've got this and this and that, or they've got this going on, or their life seems somehow better than my life. So maybe I don't struggle with it as much as I used to in my 20s, but I was definitely in my 20s like, oh man, I want to be like this or that or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've kind of come into my own skin and kind of feel like, I feel sorry for people that judge themselves on what they have or don't have so dramatically that it affects their psyche, because that sucks.
Well, children, teenagers, kids in their 20s, like those are more formidable years. You're more moldable. And so unless we are helping them to understand what really matters in life, because there are things that are more important than having perfect
But you know what? In school, guess what? There's a lot of those perfect whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The guys, the girls, the peer pressure. Oh man, that is so tough.
Yeah.
And the thing is, remember, it was tough for us, and we didn't have social media.
Yes.
It was
Right?
tough just living it, but there was an escape. You came
Yes.
home
Yeah.
and it stopped. Even if you were being bullied,
Right.
it would stop.
Yeah. At some point.
Today, these children, it doesn't stop unless you're a parent who's very active in your child's life. We take away things from our daughter. We're like,
Sure.
nope,
Yeah.
you're not watching that.
Yeah.
Nope,
Yeah.
you're not watching that person on YouTube.
Yeah.
Nope, you're not watching this.
Yeah.
Nope, you're not posting this. But it's also taxing on us. There
Yeah.
are many times where I'm just
Yes.
like, man,
I'm
just
sure.
take this tablet, leave me
Yeah.
alone. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah. You're like a watchdog constantly having to
Yeah.
monitor.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
you know,
And so it's hard being a parent.
It
It
is.
is.
It's hard
It
being a parent
is,
these days.
for sure.
and so it's funny. My daughter had her very first sleepover ever with a friend last night.
Mhm.
And I was texting her mom and I just said, hey, does she have any allergies? Right. And then I said, is there any content that you don't want her to watch? Just so you know, like we're pretty conservative in relation to whatever. So it'll probably be fine, but just let me know if there's something you don't want her to see. And the mom was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for asking. Nobody asks these
Mhm.
days.
No,
You know.
you're
Yeah.
right. That's true.
And it's like,
And we should. I love that you said that. I never even thought of it myself. I'm like, oh,
Oh, I do.
You're right.
well, it's
Dude.
because
Kind of
my
content.
daughter got invited to a sleepover that's tonight, and I won't tell you what movie they are going to watch because I don't want to get judged or whatever. But not by you guys, but by the audience. And I'm like, oh, my daughter will not watch that movie. Absolutely not.
oh, well, now I have to know.
I'm
what
not
it
going
is.
to tell you on the
Dang
show.
it. Now you got this, and I'm like, oh, I have to know this.
I'll tell you offline.
Why?
But it's like, and I don't want to be ridiculed for like having my own personal line boundary where it's at, and I'm okay
Yeah.
with that boundary. But it's just we all make different choices,
And I
it's not necessarily good or
respect that.
bad.
You
but-
should.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you're raising your children, and you have certain values and certain things you want, and you as long as you're not harming anyone, you have that liberty
Yeah.
and that freedom to
I'm
do
doing the
that.
best
and
I
We
can
should all respect
Yes.
with
that.
the
Yes.
wisdom I got. I'm just
Yeah.
doing my best. Like
We-
we all hopefully are.
Yeah, yeah. I think we desire to be good parents, and we're doing everything we can. When we first moved to the home we live in now, we had a pool party, and my daughter, my youngest, was in junior high. I think she was not even, maybe 6th or 7th grade maybe. And we invited a bunch of her friends over from school, but we didn't know all the parents. We just said, hey, invite your friends over. I could not believe, because it's not how I feel, but the minivan rolled up, the doors opened up, the little girl that's in 7th grade or 6th or 8th with a towel, with a bikini, running into our house, has no idea. Their parents don't know who we are. I would never do that. But and I'm like, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I mean, for me, because I self-reflect and I'm like, well, these kids are probably pretty independent and they whatever, but still, I would never let my kid go into a home that I didn't know who the parents were and know what they were all about. Because none of these parents, I mean, like maybe one mom out of 15 kids walked up to the door, knocked, hi, I'm so-and-so's mom. What time should I pick her up? The rest of them, it was just like, whoa, these kids are just popping in like crazy.
Free for all.
That's crazy.
Free for
Yeah,
all.
No, we've had a pool party, and the parents all stayed, but we expected that.
Yeah.
I didn't think did any parents leave? No, I think most of the parents stayed.
Oh,
So at
that's
least
cool.
one parent would stay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But to me, I felt that was normal. I never even thought about that. I'm like, how old was your daughter at this time?
She was in 7th grade. 7th, maybe 8th grade. So that's like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're older. Yeah. So my
12.
daughter's just in 6 right now.
yeah.
12, 13.
But
Yeah.
still, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, where are all these kids? We're the parents.
Yeah.
It's a
I
little
think
wild.
at that age, also the kids are also getting embarrassed of their parents.
That's right.
So I know
Yeah.
my daughter probably like, you stay in the car.
my
You
Oh,
never come out."
oh, dude,
'Cause
no. You just
I
wait.
would. I'd be like, hey, what's up, everybody?
You know what's
You're
gonna
like,
happen?
I'm Rico.
She's gonna say,
Yeah.
drop me here, and the house is like 6 blocks away.
Yeah, right. I'm laughing,
Exactly.
Dad.
yeah.
It's interesting how our podcast about artificial intelligence always ends up being so human.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, at the
It
end of the
does.
day, I mean, we're human, and all this is just a tool.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
AI is a tool. It's an amazing tool. It's a revolutionary tool. It is the first time that humans will be with another intelligence just as intelligent or even more intelligent than than us on this planet. So it's just very fascinating what it's going to do. There are going to be a lot of learning curves.
Yes.
People will lose jobs. New jobs will be created, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
Just like we did in the Industrial Revolution, just like we did in the Digital Revolution,
Yeah.
just like we did with fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humans will adapt. Yeah, that's how I see it. So that's why I think we're so optimistic about it. And also, we push and preach human connections
Yes.
first.
Yeah.
You know, even the whole thing about these companies, we start with why.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, what's your purpose and how are you helping others? What's the value? And then
Yeah.
if you're hiring people, because at the end of the day, AI can't do everything. It can only do what the humans are telling it to do.
Yeah.
For
So you
now.
still need people in. Yeah, you still need the people inside the company.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for now, and I hope that it always will be,
Yeah.
because that would
Fingers
be a very weird
crossed, I
time.
guess.
Yeah.
So,
Human driven, AI assisted.
Yeah.
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 Very cool.
Boom.
well,
Awesome.
you know, if this was a valuable episode for you guys, we'd love to have you share it, and we'd love for you to be a part of this community. So, AI 23 Podcasts, share that with anyone that you think would get value. And thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Awesome.